Everything Everywhere All at Once is one of the most highly regarded and celebrated movies of the year. It's a family's adventure through the multiverse, told in a fresh, modern style. And I'm here to tell you that it is a terrible and depraved movie. If you've already seen it, you may too be confused on why this movie is so well liked. The story is nihilistic and full of deconstruction, and yes, I know it attempts to present it as a problem, but their solution is wholly unsatisfying. I made this video to expose one clever yet nasty trick the film plays on its audience to attempt to manipulate how we feel about this story. By revealing this, we can learn how stories are used to influence our perceptions of the world, and we can properly defend ourselves against malicious stories. First, to be fair, the good. The acting is excellent, particularly Ki Hoi Kwan portraying the kind father. He is top-notch. Michelle Yeoh as the mom is pretty good as well. Some of the filmmaking is competent and creative. For example, one of the fight scenes, the fanny pack fight, is well done, but that ends the good, leading us to the bad. Let's start with a few basic criticisms. The writing is full of exposition. Trying to explain the multiverse and skill acquisition, it's clunky and grating. The film itself is also disgusting. It bombards you with images that are bleak and perverted. An attempt of creativity, it's visually noisy. It fills a huge portion of the movie with unnecessary and frequently disturbing imagery. The characters in the audience are forced into this drug-induced fever dream of depraved minds. The movie spends inordinate amount of time in these fast-cut psychedelic versions or visions of alternate reality, quote-unquote. You don't have much time to dwell on the nihilistic foundation being created. The filmmakers seem to be saying, don't think too much about the disturbing images you just saw. It's all a normal part of life. Move on, just believe us. As a side note, I'm okay with weird. Weird has its place in filmmaking. Tim Burton, the Coen brothers, for example, have done this well with certain movies. I made an entire video on how truth can be found in the strange, but this goes beyond, way beyond. Which leads us to the big trick and the primary reason I made this video. Creating the void. In Everything Everywhere All at Once, they create a repulsive, nihilistic, and perverted world. They want you to believe the world is a meaningless consequence of infinite possible combinations. The world is terrible, people are terrible, life is terrible. They actively destroy our world based on objective moral truth, beauty, goodness, etc. They lower the moral bar, they create the void. Then they solve these issues by basically saying that whatever gives you happiness or pleasure is better than infinite nothingness. And by adding a little love, joy, etc. at the very end, they attempt to make you feel something. They jump over the new bar of lower expectations they created and ta-da! Fill the void with anything and everything they want. In their eyes, the crushing nihilism of an atheist worldview is solved by finding joy and love and pleasure wherever you can. And it doesn't matter where you find that quote-unquote happiness. It's all equal. This attempt to make all morality and momentary happiness equivalent is a trick. In their view, the love and purpose you find in family is equivalent to a man's friendship/partnership with a raccoon who cooks. This is actually in the movie. This is not even the oddest or worst part, as there are many more repulsive things found inside the story that I will not mention. There are sickening images one after another, many of which are celebrated as good just because they are above meaningless. Once again, anything and everything can fill the void they created. Filling the void with pleasure and distraction and perversion is their solution. They attempt to solve nihilism with moral relativism. This is the deconstructionist trick. Tear everything down and then build up something, anything. Even if the new construction is a house of cards based in twisted morality, and for this they want to be celebrated. Well, I'm not celebrating it. Now, the supporters of this movie and the critics of my position may say, you don't get art, or this movie's too smart for you, you don't get the multiverse, or something along those lines. It's not art. Like a lot of modern art, solely concerned with self-expression, it's a twisted narcissistic practice. It's a convoluted worship of self. Art used to be better, a search for truth, an attempt to understand complicated reality, an attempt to build on something. It was beyond the self. I hope you're beginning to see through these tricks and this nasty nihilism. These movies are not too smart for us. We are too smart for these movies. We just have to remind ourselves of the truth. The multiverse is complicated, yes, but after a couple iterations these past couple years, I'm already tired of it. It's remarkably bland and uninteresting because it destroys choices and consequences in the here and now. You know, reality. I'm bored with the multiverse because I find reality truly interesting, truly beautiful. I find objective moral truth to be interesting, not moral relativism. I find the goodness of people and the sanctity of life interesting, not people's depraved desires. I'm just not fooled by the filmmaker's cheap tricks. The world is not a depressing and meaningless combination of particles hitting each other. Pleasure and simple happiness is not the highest ideal. There is more, there is truth, there is beauty. Don't forget this. Here's the depressing part if this wasn't already. This nihilistic deconstruction approach seen in the movie is unfortunately par for the course in Hollywood. Because so many share this worldview, this will be celebrated. The acting is the only deserving portion, and Hollywood will attempt to shove this down the public's throat. To be clear, I don't believe all stories need to be a squeaky clean 1950s Disney movie. Evil exists and stories can challenge us. Morality challenges us. As a writer, as a viewer, I choose to confirm morality, not to affirm depravity. And it makes me sad that so many storytellers now choose the latter. I see the tricks, and now I hope you do too. They will not work on me. Unfortunately, others will still be swayed by the popularity and critical acclaim this movie gets. Don't be fooled. Everything Everywhere All at Once is a terrible, terrible movie. This movie reflects modern filmmaking. The cinematography, the acting, the choreography are all competent and creative. They know the tricks to elicit emotion. I see a generation taught all the technical skills, yet lack the ability to see and portray the truth. At the core, as storytellers, they don't have anything meaningful to say. They don't have any truth to speak. They don't have anything to add to the beautiful construction of our lives. So they destroy what is around them, creating a void to be filled. And filled by what? Anything and everything without prudent thought to what the right thing is. We shouldn't seek to fill our lives with and have our attention spread thin on anything and everything, especially all at once. Perhaps we should fill our lives with and focus our attention on the few true and beautiful things that are right and just.